No place for losers. Those were my brother's exact words. He blocked the doorway of our childhood home on Christmas Eve, arms crossed, a smug victory in his eyes. Behind him, the tree glittered. My mother, Clarissa, clutched her Chardonnay, her gaze averted. My father, Frank, studied the fireplace like it held the secrets of the universe. I stood on the frosted porch, arms laden with meticulously wrapped gifts for his kids, gifts I'd spent weeks and a small fortune choosing. "You heard me, Jenna," my brother, Trent, sneered. "We don't need your pity or your presents. We're starting fresh, clean slate, no losers allowed." I didn't yell, I didn't cry. The cold had already seeped into my bones, crystallizing something sharp and clear inside me. "You're right," I said, my voice unnervingly calm. "There's no place for losers." I turned, walked back to my car, and placed the gifts gently in the trunk. Not in anger, but with the care of an archivist storing evidence. Each ribbon, each tag, was a receipt from my own foolish devotion. For a decade, I had been the family's secret treasury. Jenna Ross, 34, silent financier. When Trent lost his job at the dealership, I covered his mortgage for 8 months. When his wife, Brittany, needed a new SUV for carpool, my down payment. Private preschool, tennis lessons, the emergency roof repair, all funded by my late nights as a financial analyst. I was the ghost in their machine, the grease in their gears, thanked only when the engine stalled. That night, in my sterile, quiet apartment, I didn't weep. I opened my laptop, I pulled up the spreadsheet titled Family Support Non-Deductible. It was a ledger of love, quantified and debited. At 11:47 p.m., I began. I didn't just cancel the automatic payments, I executed a financial excommunication. Step 1, the credit lifeline. I was the primary cardholder on the Platinum Amex they used for groceries, which suspiciously included golf memberships and spa days. Reported lost. New card issued to my address only. Step 2, the educational trust. The Aunt Jenna college funds I'd set up for my niece and nephew, a revocable trust. Revoked. The funds were instantly transferred back to my high-yield account. Step 3, the mortgage. The house they lived in was in my name, a temporary arrangement after Trent's bankruptcy. I emailed my property manager and my lawyer. Initiate eviction proceedings for breach of goodwill tenancy, effective January 1st. Step 4, the nuclear option. I accessed the family business, a modest hardware store our grandfather left. I owned 51% of the shares, a fact everyone forgot. I filed paperwork with the state to dissolve the corporation and liquidate assets, citing irreconcilable differences among ownership. I did it all in 90 minutes. My revenge wasn't a shout. It was a series of keystrokes in a silent room. The cold flood. The tsunami hit them in slow, bureaucratic waves. December 26th, Brittany's Amexes declined at the Nordstrom's semi-annual sale. Embarrassment. December 28th, the private school's bursar calls about the sudden withdrawal from the tuition account. Panic. January 2nd, a formal eviction notice arrives at their door. The family home was never theirs. Sheer terror. January 3rd, the bank freezes the business accounts pending dissolution. Utter ruin. My phone became a museum of hysterics. Trent's messages swung from confused, "Jenna, what's going on with the card?" to furious, "You bitch, you can't do this," to pleading, "The kids are crying, where will we go?" I answered none. My silence was the new law. My mother called, her voice trembling with manufactured concern. "Sweetheart, your brother is under a lot of stress. Whatever you're doing, stop. Be the bigger person." "I am, Mother," I replied, my tone as smooth as ice. "I'm finally acting my size and my bank balance." Then the masterstroke. I had one more account, a secret emergency fund I'd set up in my niece and nephew's names. inaccessible to their parents. I transferred the balance to a new trust with a single stipulation. The funds could only be accessed by the children for education, starting at age 18, and only if they had no financial contact with their father before then. I sent the trust documents to Brittany with an oath. For Lily and Noah, this is what real family does. It plans for a future. It doesn't plunder the present. The knock on the door. He came on January 15th. Not the triumphant brother of Christmas Eve, but a hollowed-out ghost, shivering on my doorstep in a thin jacket. "Jenna," his voice was ragged, "please." I opened the door but didn't step aside. The barrier between us was now metaphysical. "You win," he choked out. "You've destroyed me. Are you happy?" This wasn't about winning, Trent. It was about accounting. You declared me a loser. I merely closed the books on our one-sided partnership. They're kicking us out. The business is gone. My family is living in a motel. I looked past him to the sleek black town car idling at the curb. My lawyer, Miss Chen, emerged with briefcase in hand. "Actually, Mr. Ross," she said, her voice crisp in the winter air, "the court-approved liquidation of Ross Hardware is proceeding. As the majority shareholder, Miss Ross has arranged for the proceeds, after debts, to be placed in a protective fund for your children's welfare, managed by an independent fiduciary. You are, of course, entitled to your 24% minority share. After back taxes and penalties, our preliminary calculation puts that at approximately $1,200. Trent's face went from white to gray. That's my inheritance." "No," I corrected softly, "our inheritance, which you've been spending for years. This is the change you get back." Miss Chen handed him a thick envelope. Contained are the eviction notice, the dissolution papers, and a cease and desist from contacting Miss Ross. Further communication will go through me. I looked at my brother, this stranger I'd bled myself dry for. "You said there was no place for losers, Trent. You were right. So I got out. I suggest you find your own place." I closed the door. This time, I didn't hear his retreat. I'd already stopped listening. The clean, quiet slate. Brittany left him a week later. She took the kids and moved in with her sister. The last I heard, she was using the incident as motivation, finally finishing her nursing degree. I get a photo of the kids sometimes from an anonymous social media account I peek at. They look lighter. My parents tried the guilt campaign for a month, then fell silent when they realized the Bank of Jenna had not only closed, but filed for bankruptcy of their emotional currency. They couldn't afford my attention anymore. I sold the family house. The proceeds funded a scholarship in my grandmother's name for women returning to finance after a career break. The irony was delicious. I sit now in my new condo, the one with a view I bought for myself. The silence here isn't empty. It's full of my own breath, my own choices, my own peace. They called me a loser because I didn't play their game of smoke and mirrors. So I flipped the table, took my chips, and walked into a better casino. The ultimate revenge isn't in making them suffer. It's in becoming so profoundly, unassailably free that their memory can't even cast a shadow on your life. They wanted a world with no losers. I gave them one. They just never imagined they'd be the ones disqualified. If you've ever been told you're not enough by the people who take the most from you, this is your sign. Your kindness is not a currency for others to spend. For more stories of breathtaking, calculated revenge and reclaiming your power, you belong here. Hit subscribe and ring that bell. Your comeback story is waiting on Clara's Revenge.